Hey, Pastor Julian here with Central's Devotion for today. I hope you're doing well. Let's check out Matthew chapter 7, verses 13 and 14. This might be a familiar verse for many of you. Enter by the narrow gate, for the gate is wide and the way is easy that leads to destruction, and those who enter by it are many. For the gate is narrow and the way is hard that leads to life, and those who find it are few. And whenever I read this verse, this passage, I'm reminded of when I grew up in West Philly, and the neighborhoods there had all these back alleys. And some of the back alleys that we would find behind the houses and stuff were really narrow. They were hard to get down. I mean, you couldn't walk side by side down some of these alleys. It was just a one-person deal, and you had somebody behind you. And if you needed to pass by one another, you had to do it sideways. And there were other alleys that were wide enough for a car to drive down, and cars would drive down them. But there are all these weird paths and back alleys. One of the cool things about cities is that there are these back alleys behind the houses that, especially as a kid, that you get to wander down. And there's gates. There's gates that are really small, and you open it. And then there's gates that are really big. And so this passage always reminds me of that. I get that vision in my head. But what is Jesus saying here? What is Jesus saying here? Enter by the narrow gate, for the gate is wide and the way is easy that leads to destruction. Those who enter by it are many. There's a couple different ways that I'm going to help you understand. One is you can look at this just religion-wise. There's some people that say all religions lead to the same place. That there's this great pyramid, and there are all the different religions of the world. And it doesn't matter what religion you are, you're going to find yourself up at the top of that pyramid. You're going to wind up all in the same place. And I can tell you, that's not true, because of what Jesus is saying here, that there is one gate that leads to life. And it's a narrow gate, and most people are not getting there. They're not getting through it and doing the difficult things to get there. It's our nature to want to go the easy way, the path of least resistance, and so we'll always choose the easy way. But in Jesus' time, you have a lot of different gods and religions out there all over the place, and people just pick and choose whatever they want, and they give their allegiance to this god or that god or multiple gods. And so you can look at this passage that way, and I'm sure that Jesus had intended this to be used that way as well, that there is only one way to eternal life, and that is through Jesus Christ. And that way is not an easy way, because there's a lot of rejection that you are going to face. And if you are someone who says, well, Jesus is the only way, now in our America, in our context, in our culture, you also are going to find some resistance. You're going to find that you're going to face some issues with people because people believe all sorts of things. Nowadays, we don't have temples to Isis or Baal or any of these other, but people have their own beliefs. There are other religions out there, and there are new religions that people are making up every day, and some people have just no religion and think that they're going to wind up in a great place when all is said and done in life. But there is only one way, and that is through Jesus. And Jesus here says to enter by the gate. This is the beginning of the journey, to enter through the gate. And he says, enter by the narrow gate. He said, for the gate is narrow and the way is hard or difficult that leads to life, and those who find it are few. Like I said, we always veer towards the path of least resistance, and there are tons of blessings along this path that is hard. The main one being that there's life at the end. Another part is that you're never going to have to walk that path alone, that Jesus is going to be walking it with you. But let me encourage you to go through this difficult path. And this is a path that Jesus is also implying that is filled with persecution. It's not a path that we fill with difficult things on purpose or just natural things that are difficult in the world, but that you're going to find some persecution, that there's going to be some sacrifice that you're going to have to make along this path if you are going to follow Jesus. And it says, those who find it are few. It doesn't mean that there's two. I know, in English, few and two are interchangeable. It's not literally, that there's just two or even a handful. Few just means small, smaller than the main group. The whole group, and compared to the whole group, it's going to be small, those who enter through that gate and find it. And I pray and hope that you are the one that follows Jesus through that narrow gate and along the hard way and finds eternal life. Well, hope I'll see you on the other end. God bless you and have a great day.